Tell me if this is a familiar scenario. You're walking down the blaster aisle looking for a gift for somebody, but you just have way too many options. You don't know what to get, what's good, what at the price point, all this kind of stuff going on. The good news is I'll break down some of the best blasters of this year, so if you are giving a blaster gift, be sure to watch this video. I'm going to cover price points from low, medium to high to like way high, and I'll tell you exactly why these blasters made the list. Now with that said, let's get on to some of the blasters. So let's start with blasters under $20, and I want to make a special call out for anything in the X-Shot Skins line. Now the reason I'm just saying anything in the X-Shot Skins line is because from anywhere between $5 to $20 max, you can get a fantastic blaster that looks amazing. This is one of dozens of styles you can find at stores, and they all look phenomenal. And not to mention that the performance of these blasters for how much you're spending on them is a phenomenal value. This Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle blaster caught me by surprise. It was $15, and it coincides with the release of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and Mutant Mayhem. Now, what's remarkable about this blaster is that it features a similar process to the X-Shot Skins line that we just talked about. The difference here being is that this is Turtle branded, and it comes in one of my very favorite shell designs of all time. Back when Nerf Rebel was a thing, this was called the Sweet Revenge. Now what's cool about this is that it has a hammer prime action, meaning that you can use this one-handed. And with the cylinder that's open on the front, you are able to front load darts very quickly and just continue to play. There weren't too many blasters made by Busby this year, but the Air Warriors Easy Fire is one of them, and you know what? For 20 bucks, you can't really go wrong with this thing. It comes with 2 magazines, it comes with a ton of darts, and just true to its name, it is an easy blaster to fire. All you need to do is ratchet back on this right here, and you get a dart ready and loaded. Now that does it for any blaster under $20 outside of a Jolt. So let's move up a level now to blasters that are about $25 to $30. Again, these are full retail prices. You might be able to find them on sale depending on when you're shopping. Here we have a Dart Zone Thunderbolt. This is an electronic flywheel based blaster. It comes with a magazine that holds 15 darts. It has this stock attachment. If somebody's looking for a little more performance but not having to break the bank for it, the Thunderbolt this year is probably one of your best values. This is the first quirky blaster that I have on the list. This is the Minecraft Heartstealer sword, and more specifically, it's from Minecraft Dungeons. Now, this is a foam sword, however, there is a dart blaster portion to it underneath the blade. And all you need to do is load a dart in this thing, pull down on the pommel here, and I can just fire a dart. It does have this really solid foam blade on the top that just makes it kind of a fun gimmick. If you're shopping for somebody who loves Minecraft, this is pretty fun. Here we have the Nerf Rival Forerunner. This was one of the few rival blasters that were released in 2023, and this is a fantastic one. It holds 12 rounds internally, and it comes with the superior AccuRival rounds that make sure that you're hitting your target. Well, at least getting closer to hitting your target. This is foam dart blasters after all. But the Forerunner comes at about $28. If you're looking for somebody who wants that performance, who wants that accuracy, the Nerf Rival Forerunner is a great option. The Nerf Gelfire Dual Wield 2-pack comes at about $30. 2 blasters you get in one box to try out the world of Gel Blaster. And normally with Nerf we have reusable ammo, but in the Gelfire world we have those little gel beads that burst on impact, so you'll have to restock on ammo quite often. But for $30 you get 2 blasters, 15 bucks a blaster, and they couldn't be more simpler to use. All you need to do is just click in the trigger and it primes and fires the gel rounds. This year couldn't have gone by without talking about anything from the X-Shot Insanity line. Now, my favorite blaster of them all is the Mad Mega Barrel. It's about $30, and it has a 72 round clip drum thing that sits in the blaster that I can remove. That way packing this thing up doesn't have to be a huge chore. And the other thing X-Shot has done this year is they've redesigned their darts so that it fits more in line with all of the other blasters that use full-length darts. And if that wasn't crazy enough, you can socket on all kinds of dart holders. I can attach this to other blasters to create just wild combinations. It's just that the Mad Mega Barrel is my favorite one out of the entire Insanity bunch. I know we're going through these very quickly, but there are a lot of blasters to get through this year. Now we're going to be taking a look at blasters between $30 and $50, and one thing you're going to notice here is that the blasters tend to get larger, more plastic behind them, and that doesn't necessarily mean that there's more power behind it, but we'll get into that. Here we have the Dart Zone Outlaw. This is a performance based half-length dart blaster, and the first half-length dart blaster on the list. Unlike the Ninja Turtle blaster that I showed at the very beginning of this video, the Hammer Prime here isn't necessarily a single-hand operation, especially if you're purchasing this for somebody who's a little younger. And younger in this case should be about 14 and up. If you're buying a blaster like this for anybody younger, it might be a little too powerful for them to wield around the house. You want to use something like this in a more competitive setting, which again, 14 and up, this is going to be a more competitive blaster. It does come with 2 cylinders so that you can swap these out on the fly, or you can keep plugging the darts in from the side and reloading it that way. And a blaster like this, with its performance and everything, is about $32, and true to its name, it's kind of a steal for that price. The Nerf Double Punch is one of my top 3 blasters of the year, if not the top one, just because it is so much fun. At about $35, you get a blaster with 2 barrels, 2 magazines, and a lot of smiles that go behind it. This is another one of those motorized blasters, but when I hold down the rev switch and press the trigger, you can kind of see how this thing works. It actually fires a dart on the press down as well as the release forward. And just to highlight how quickly you can dump darts out of this thing, let me load up both of these 10-round magazines, and I'll show you how quickly you can spend darts. And there they are, empty. So even though this is not a fully automatic blaster, it sure feels like one. I'm going to spend the most time here on the Double Punch because I really think it's a fantastic blaster. It encapsulates everything that makes a blaster good, at least in my opinion. It has that very much toy quality with the double barrels. Is it needed? Absolutely not, but it makes it more fun. And true to its name, they punch in and out just to make it look a little more toy-like. And this is what I would consider to have average performance for any sort of blaster these days. If you would have said at the beginning of this year that I would have 2 Gelfire blasters on this video, I probably wouldn't have believed you, but the Gelfire Raid that released this year is a really solid Gelfire blaster. Because it does something that I haven't seen other gel blasters do across any line, across any manufacturer. It has this V-like pattern right here that fires 5 gel rounds at a time. So when they come out of the barrel here, they spread out and they hit a lot of targets that you're aiming at. The hopper up here holds a considerable amount of the Gelfire rounds, I think about like 800 if I'm remembering correctly. But because you're using 5 rounds at a time, and it does reliably fire 5 rounds at a time throughout all my testing, you can get through one of these hoppers pretty quickly. This blaster does come at about $40, and you will, again, like the dual wield 2-pack, need to purchase a new ammo type, the Nerf Gelfire rounds. Here we have the Nerf Fortnite Blue Shock. This is a pretty decent blaster. Is it my favorite one on the list? No, but if you're buying for somebody who really loves Fortnite, this is a really solid blaster. Not only does it look like the blaster from the game, it also comes with a special game code that allows them to unlock an in-game cosmetic. Now, performance of this blaster is similar to the Double Punch that I showed earlier. It just doesn't have the 2 barrels, it only has the 1. But because this is a Fortnite blaster, you will be paying a little more for it. This is a $40 purchase. And now it's time to tackle blasters over $50. Now here's the thing, I had real difficulty finding blasters that were at that $50 mark. Once you go beyond the $40 price point, the price of blasters balloons significantly. And a lot of these blasters aren't geared for just kind of playing around with, they're more performance based, or they have very specific niches or video games or limited runs that make these blasters a lot more expensive. Now this blaster is called the Unicorn. It comes at about $90. This is a blaster I wasn't expecting this year at all, and there's a lot of interesting things about it. It uses half-length darts exclusively, and a blaster like this is geared for playing around with people in a park in an organized setting, or at like some kind of indoor arena that's geared for laser tag or airsoft. Now what's remarkable about this is there's a lot of options to customize it right out of the box. I can prime the blaster here with the foregrip, I can prime it here on the top so that I've got like a very slim profile. This is something for 14 and up. This is definitely not something for anyone younger than that, just based on the power alone. But it's also a consideration to how much strength you need to prime this blaster back. The Nerf Strife X is Nerf's very first ever half-length dart blaster, and I don't think they could have picked a better form factor for their first half-length dart offering, because this looks like one of the most popular Nerf blasters that people within the community use to mod and use to create all kinds of wonderful creations. The other thing that this is doing that a lot of other blasters don't have, or at least in a way that makes electronic, really performance-based blasters possible, This is a rechargeable battery. It just uses USB-C, and you kind of set it and forget it. Community-based made creations use LiPo batteries like RC cars and use balance charging, and it's just kind of another thing to consider, but the Strife X makes everything a whole lot easier. Now, the performance of this thing is fantastic. The build quality, again, is fantastic, but you are paying with that for $120. So the price is steep, but you're getting a lot of nice features here that kind of make up for it. And that's going to be great for people who want a performance-based blaster but don't want to do a whole lot of tinkering. At the same price point, at about $120, is the Worker Seagull. Again, this is something that you get online. It is more similar to the Unicorn that I showed off earlier than the Strife X, but what I like about this one is that it comes with an attached scar barrel, and it has standard Picatinny rails, a buffer tube, which if you're buying for somebody who's in a more performance-based mindset with these blasters, that is going to mean quite a bit to them. They can use attachments and accessories from a whole host of other hobbies that are kind of related to foam dart blasting. And that does it for my top gift-giving picks for foam dart blasters. But I do have one more honorable mention that is extremely hard to find. In fact, I think you can only buy it on the Bungie store at this point. And if you have anybody on your shopping list who is a fan of Destiny 2, you're going to want to see this thing. This is the Nerf Limited Gallarhorn, and every once in a while, Nerf will collaborate with a one-off blaster based on well-known properties. Now, Destiny, you could argue, would be a great collaboration brand just in general, but the Gallarhorn is probably the biggest, best, and coolest rocket launcher you can get in the game. It sits at about 4 feet tall. This thing is absolutely massive. And of course, if you're thinking like, oh gosh, this has got to be expensive, you're absolutely right, because this is about $150. I don't know if shipping is included. I just kind of typed in my credit card number and closed my eyes at that point. If you have a video game fan and a Nerf fan in like a perfect Venn diagram that you're shopping for, this thing is absolutely going to make their jaw drop. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions about the blasters, be sure to leave them in the comment section below. I will do my best to address them. If there's like a detail that I missed on one of these blasters, I'm happy to clarify that, because one of the joys of opening a gift is getting a blaster that you absolutely love. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.